What is the number one thing that I always hear brought up in almost every single coaching call? It's the insecurity, the self-doubt, the guilt, all the things regarding wanting to add additional subjects, do more in homeschooling. So let's talk about it, when it's a good idea, when it's not a good idea, why we have those thoughts, why we have those doubts. And at the end of it, really, I believe this is a limiting belief. And I'm going to share with you a neuro-linguistic programming technique to help you resolve that within yourself once and for all. So let's get started. Hi there, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Karen, and we like to talk about sustainable homeschooling here at our house. And the curriculum that we use is the Robinson curriculum. It's wonderful. It focuses on self-teaching methodology with developing great study habits for the students, and they focus on reading, writing, and arithmetic. They do science, real science, physics, chemistry, biology, after they learn the mathematics language, which is advanced mathematics, calculus, things like that. It's a different structure than a lot of parents are used to when you come from a world of maybe boxed curriculum or public school, private school. And so we're going to talk about that in this video. Because RC focuses mainly reading, writing, and arithmetic, when families switch over, they tend to have a little bit of a hard time. Maybe intellectually they know that this is a good idea, this is sustainable, this is something that they can do. But inside they're always kind of, the grass is greener on the other side. Maybe they're seeing their friends post on social media doing all this other stuff, or they keep thinking about what the public school programs, how they run things there, or curriculums like Charlotte Mason, that has the whole set the feast and a wide area that they cover. But keep in mind, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, all of those things may not be comparable to your situation. Charlotte Mason didn't have kids. She didn't have to homeschool multiple children. She wasn't sleep deprived. She didn't have a husband that she also had to take care of, run errands for, keep the house going. I mean, you can't compare. It's not apples to apples. Same thing with the public school. They have enormous amount of resources when it comes to money, when it comes to staff, everything. And yet you chose to homeschool instead of sending them there. So why are you trying to replicate that system? Why? Well, obviously we know one-on-one attention, besides a lot of other factors, that's superior, right? When they tutor at public school, it's one-on-one. That's what people want. That's what parents want. They want like a low teacher to child ratio and everything. And you have that when you homeschool, and yet you're trying to replicate the system that is not working by any measure over here when you don't have, it's not apples to apples. You don't have those capabilities. And think about it too, a little side note here. What are the areas that most students get tutored in? Is it really social studies or history? Normally it's math. Normally it's maybe remedial phonics or reading, teaching them how to read, or writing instruction. It's reading, writing, and arithmetic. Those are the main areas of tutoring, because a lot of the other stuff is facts that you can learn pretty much at, any age within reason. It will take me the same amount of time to learn right now at the age of 40, the distance between the sun and the earth. It's going to take me the same time if I do it now at 40 or if I do it at 7 years old. And probably at 7, I might forget. But what I'm trying to say is that other things like reading, writing, and arithmetic, it will not take the same amount of time. A diligent student who has worked daily on math, 6 days a week, year round, and went through all of it, algebra, algebra 2, geometry, advanced mathematics, calculus, they are going to be much more advanced up here, their computational skills, than say a 40-year-old that never went past middle school. It's a different time thing. So that's why we focus on the basics, to have that really solid foundation, and not so much on the things that can be learned, that they can learn at any other time. We want to focus on where it matters: reading, writing, and arithmetic. So we can know all of that intellectually. I could tell you that. I could tell people that during coaching calls, but I knew it wasn't really getting to the root of it. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video, how to get to the root of those thoughts. Like I said, I do believe in some ways it is a limiting belief. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're in a situation where you can do more, that's great. I know a lot of families that balance doing the Robinson curriculum, and then it's very interest-led in the afternoons, and they do a variety of things and music, and if they want to learn a foreign language after, but the thing is that we're not incorporating it as part of the school day. We don't want to just spend 10-15 minutes on each subject. It's pretty shallow. Instead, we want to focus the school day on those three components: reading, writing, and arithmetic. And then if there's time for other things, especially in their free time, that's great. And so some parents can do that. They can balance it, or they'll be creative and, do audiobooks in the car. Or like I always talk about, low-key ways to learn geography, with placemats or board games, different things like that. That's fine. But most of the time, parents who have these insecurities and self-doubts, a lot of times they're not even solid on the basics. They're still not consistent with the school day. They're still fighting off distractions or consistency, routine, getting them to do work independently. They're still struggling with all of that, and yet they feel that tug and pull to add more. So it's fine if you're in a good place and you want to add more. And sometimes the cycle is that parents are doing great, they feel great, and they want to add more. They start to add more, but they don't add more in a very sustainable way. And then the cycle continues where they get overwhelmed, frustrated, burnout, and then they go back to just stripping it down to the basics, and they're like, this feels good. Why did I ever add more? And then sometimes that cycle repeats a few more times, doing the same thing, right? Because things work so well, you think I can do more. Other families, maybe they get to that point where everything's working really great, and I'm just gonna tweak this little bit or add this little bit. And then once they get that feedback that, ooh, this is beginning to be unsustainable, feels too much, they scale it back. So remember, I always say there's no such thing as failure. It's all feedback. So don't feel like you messed it up or things are going terrible. No. It's all feedback. Change, make the necessary changes to get back. Now, I will tell you, myself, after doing Robinson curriculum for years now, I have zero temptation to add more because I see the benefits of just sticking with it as is. Doesn't mean we never do anything else, but I just don't ever have that temptation to go shopping for more curriculum, to see what anybody else is doing and think, oh, that looks good, I should be doing that, or curriculum that looks nice, or anything like that. I just know that this works because I've done it long enough that I see the results. And many families that are switching over or starting, they don't have that yet. They don't have that social proof yet. So it's a matter of trust. And I know that could be really difficult when you have inside that turmoil, those feelings of, I should be doing more, I should be adding more. And yet they're still not even really dialed in with what they should be doing on a consistent basis. So how do we get to the root of it? I've kind of in a nutshell explained the why. We just focus on the 3 R's, the benefits of it. It does work. So even if you know all of that intellectually, or you want to give it a try for a year, but you're still struggling, you're still dealing with those doubts, that insecurity, let's talk about how to solve that once and for all. I believe this is a limiting belief, and it's limiting because it's affecting your mindset. You're not going into homeschooling this way with total confidence. And I get it because you haven't done it before. You haven't done it for very long. So you're not coming into it with a confident mindset. And kids can feel it, even if you never say it, even if you never talk about how you're unsure of this. They can sense it and they will be unsure. It will also show through their work. So this is my favorite technique for removing any limiting belief, anything that is holding you back. And that is this one simple question. When did you decide that? So anything, you could use this with any limiting belief. Oh, I can't play an instrument. Oh, I can't learn a foreign language, or I can't do X, Y, and Z. I I have to be able to add other subjects or else I'm not homeschooling correctly. Insert whatever limiting belief. When did you decide that? There was a point in your history, in your timeline, that you chose to believe that you decided that. When was it? So when we're talking about this issue, was it when you decided to homeschool? I'm going to homeschool, but I need to make sure I replicate exactly what the public school is doing. Or I'm going to homeschool, but I want to, keep up with the Joneses. I don't want to be the weird one out. I want to do exactly what all my friends are doing. I want to be able to talk to them about the same curriculum. When did you decide that you had to teach all these other subjects? You had to teach multiple subjects to multiple kids. When did you decide that? Now, once you come to the realization, was it when I decided to homeschool? Was it when I decided to transition to this way, that schooling? Okay, you know the timeline when, but now ask yourself why. Why did you choose to believe that? So, why did you choose to believe you had to add all these subjects? Because that's what I did going to public school. Because that's the only educational model system that I really know of, is what the public school is doing. Even though I don't want to send my kids there, I think that's the goal. That's the ideal, right? Just be honest with yourself here. Or when did you decide that? Why? Well, because that's what all my other friends were doing. I don't know much about homeschooling, so I'm looking to see what other people are doing that may know more than me. And this is also an idea in business, that your business can only grow as far as your mindset. And it's a whole thing. I could make a whole video on that, but I think it's the same thing with homeschooling. Your homeschooling can only grow to the capacity of your mindset, of where you're at. Even though you might know all the pieces, you might know A to Z what to do, but if you're still very constricted and limited and have limited beliefs, it's only going to grow to that point, right? So that's what I'm trying to say, that maybe you feel a bit constricted, or you don't know, and so you're kind of going off what everybody else is doing around you. So it's just, awareness is always the first key. Awareness, setting new intention, and taking massive action. That's my 3-step formula for everything. So when did you decide that? Why? Just be really honest with yourself. Why did you decide that? And then reframe it, talk through it. Apply the lesson. So what's the lesson that you can take away there? So I would recommend the lesson, but it should be something you come up with, but I would recommend, if you get to that point where, okay, I decided to homeschool, and at that point, I guess I decided that I needed to replicate the public school as much as possible. Okay, now you know that doesn't really make sense because you're one person, one parent, you have a budget, whatever it may be. Okay, so now you know intellectually that that's not going to fly. But what lesson can you take away from it? I think a great lesson would be that I value education. I value education. I care. Bad parents don't care. So you care about their education. Education is important to you. So now reframe it. Because I care about my kids' education, I'm going to first focus on the basics: reading, writing, and arithmetic. They're going to be strong, fluent readers. They're going to read the best books in the English language that we have. They're going to be challenged. They're going to expand their vocabulary. They're going to do math on their own. They're going to be self-taught when it comes to math. They're going to be strong, independent thinkers. They're going to be able to think quantitatively because they're doing math on their own. They don't require me to sit there and guide them through the entire process, right? Value those things, value education, value that strong foundation. And when you really get that dialed in, it's not really going to matter the new curriculum that came out that looks so pretty and it's appealing visually, or what your friends are doing, because you will know deep inside of you now that you have a very specific goal and vision, and you're tunnel focused on that. And so you're not going to be easily tossed to and fro with all the new fads and curriculum things like that. So when did you decide that? Why? Be honest with yourself. Reframe it, right? Make sense of it in your situation. And what is the lesson to take away from it? You care about education. Okay, well, because you care, you're going to focus on this. And once you do that, you will no longer be, I don't want to say tempted, but I would say you'll no longer be continually having self doubts, whether you're doing enough or that you should be doing something else, and attempting to add other things when you still don't have the basics dialed in, right? And once you get that all sorted out and you put your focus on and you give it your all, and then do it for some time and you see the results, you see the development academically and just maturity and all of it, you see the results, and then you're not going to need to kind of continually remind yourself. You're just going to know, like, yep, this works. This is sustainable. This is enjoyable. I can do this. It's great to see them working things out on their own and everything. So that's my little sort of PSA in this video. Why you might feel the need to constantly add more when maybe you still don't have the basics dialed in, and sort of my NLP limiting beliefs buster of how you can talk yourself through it, out of it, reframe it, and then you'll find homeschooling a lot more enjoyable and sustainable. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out here with the YouTube algorithm. I know this is very niche specific, so that would really help me out. Let me know in the comments down below if you've ever struggled with this. How did you overcome it? Or a testimony that you may have when it comes to this. And it's okay if you disagree with me. Just keep in mind that everybody is in a different stage, has a different family size, has different capabilities. And this video is regarding a specific curriculum, following it, that implementation process, and making sure that you got your basics covered before you add more. That's all. I have a free course for you on the Robinson curriculum, as well as other helpful links down below. And I think you would really like this video, but YouTube's algorithm thinks you would like this video instead. So whichever one you choose, I will see you there. Thanks for watching. Bye.